Hello and welcome to another episode of Kneeling Not Standing. It's episode 2. I'm joined by Declan Geraghty, one of my good friends. I suppose since I started Irish Football Fan TV, and I had Richie Kiley on last week, and I got to know him through the channel, and then I got to know you through the channel as well. We've become good friends at that time. We've had our ups and downs. But thanks for coming on, and looking forward to hearing your story.
I wouldn't say good friends, but I'd say friends, you know. I'm only missing. Yeah, I'm looking forward and glad to be on. Thank you for having me on. I know Richard did a great one last week, so hopefully it lives up to the expectations.
Yeah, well, hopefully. So we know you got you have a fight coming up now in November 13th in Newcastle. Who's the opponent?
Kieran Gettin, Welsh champion. Good lad, good, strong, tough Welsh fella come forward, fighting for the WBC international belt, a good ranking title. So I'm looking forward to it, yeah. Looking forward to it.
No, I suppose just what we normally do, well, the way I'm kind of looking at these podcasts is to just get people's stories. So bringing it right back to the beginning, to where you are now in terms of boxing and stuff like that, but just from growing up and stuff like that. Yeah,
well, I'm originally from Charmountry Flats now, that knocked down the last probably 4 or 5 years now. But that's where I'm originally from. It's just off the Portobello or Harcourt Street, so it's town, but southside town. And where I'm from, I was only thinking about this. I was thinking about the last while about growing up and the kids these days, how mad it is, like that the way they're coming up with so much violence, drugs, the whole lot. But then I was actually thinking about my own one. I was only speaking to my friend the other day about it and saying about, for us growing up, it was like, now this is when we're kids. I'm talking about like 5, 6, 7 years of age. What we used to do, we'd had a community centre in the flats, but there wasn't a whole lot going on. What would go down would be we would have stone at the start. There would be stone fights with each other. We'd throw stones off each other and try to hit each other with stones, which is a bit mad to think about nowadays, but that's what we used to do for fun. Stone wars. And then I went from stone wars to probably getting made to fight in the flats with each other. Like I've talked about me in a documentary Fighter 365 did about with me. It was about, I would have been putting like a cardboard box on 1 foot in, and the other fella would have had 1 foot in, and we'd end up fighting with each other. But you wouldn't think nothing of it now. But when you think about it now, you think that's fucking madness. But back then, it was just the normal was. And then I went from, this is probably really weird, it was, we used to, where I'm from, it's there's 2 lanes to get into, at Richmond Street to get into the flats. And we'd stand at the lanes and get a tray of eggs. We used to buy 20 dozen eggs and stand there and start throwing them at people going by. Like, that was our fun, and like, there was no bad malice, but it's bad. It's really bad when you think about it now, but back then there was no bad malice. So we used to throw stones at buses, cars, people, anything and everything, and just to get a chase off them. So we had nothing to do, so it was like, we throw it off someone, hopefully that someone's going to chase us and run down the lane and get a giggle out of it. So that was really the norm growing up. And then I went from that to we used to go out on the roads and rob people's hats. They'd go by and we'd snatch a hat and run them down the road just to get chased. So this is what we're doing to just get amusement out of ourselves. So
what age are you at this stage?
Like, I'm talking about 8, 9 years of age, 10 maybe, you know what I mean? Like, and I personally don't think I was a bad kid growing up. But like, everyone in my neighbourhood would have known me and still say, Declan was a nice young lad. But back then, like, if you're looking back what you did, you're like, fuck me, how'd you get away with that? So we used to rob people's hats and get chased. And then I went from, we lived beside a canal, we call it scutting. We used to go up to the canal and trucks would go by, and when they stopped the lights we'd jump on the back of it and get a lift off them to wherever they went, and we'd see how far we'd get away until we get caught. And like, you go down the Balls Bridge back then, like, it's only like it's 5-10 minutes drive down, but you're on the back of there and going down for 10 minutes, you thought you're the coolest kid about, you know what I mean? This is what we used to do for entertainment. And then we would ring a fire brigade. We used to go over to the phone box. Now you don't really see many phone boxes about now, because everyone has phones and whatnot now. But we used to go to the phone box and ring up and say, there's a fire in the flats, can you come in for the fire brigade to come in to get a scut on the back of that. But then after a while they kind of caught on, the fire brigade would be on the back leaving. But this was the regular occurrence growing up, so it was pretty mad, you know what I mean? And then it went from them little things to turn into we would then people, in fairness, I had boxing at the time, so I didn't go down that road too much. But a lot of my friends we used to go out on the roads and they used to snatch phones on the push bike, snatch someone's phone and go down the lanes. I was more of entertainment than anything else, just trying to get chases and nothing to do on the flats, you know what I mean? All we had was a football pitch and that was it, so there was no guidance, and a lot of people didn't have a mother and father about. They had one or the other. So we'd fall down the things of, you could see how lads now, a lot of my friends have been locked up, you can see how they happen because of this is the way they followed. But then it would come down to, this was probably a bit of a funny thing, we would ring a Domino's Pizza to come in, and we, like I said, we live in flats, so there's 3 stories, but our flats there wasn't like a front and back entrance. You could run through one block straight to the other. There was like, I think it was 5 or 6 blocks in all in. You get through the flats pretty handy. So what you would do is we'd ring a Domino's Pizza, and we'd ring 2 Domino's Pizza, knowing that the delivery driver was going to order 2 of them, and we'd order one up to one house, so we'd leave the other pizza in the box when he was delivering the first one, and we'd rob the pizza. So that's what we used to do. We used to rob Domino's Pizza. It's an awful lot at the start. They were the kind of, at the time, the innocent stuff besides the phones. They were innocent, but then it got a bit more malice in the sense of after robbing the pizzas, we used to rob the mopeds. So that's what I'm saying.
What used to happen from that? Like, there's the guards involved?
Yeah, the guards would come, but I'll get to it now. At the time, the phones, the guards would have been called, but all the other stuff, there was no guards called, you know what I mean? Hats and all that, they wouldn't get involved. There was more
maybe the phones.
The crack and just getting a chase, you know what I mean? But then the phones coming involved, the police would be, like I said, there was a lot of ways in and out of the flats, so the police could never catch you. But then, so we used to rob the pizzas at the start, and I always remember there was a woman in the flats, and she was a bit of an alcoholic, and she used to let us go in and out of her flat all the time. And she lived on the bottom floor.
Was that like your safe house?
And no, we used to ring the Domino's to come there, and the Domino's man would say so much money, say no worries, I'm just gonna go inside and get the money and close the door, and then just jump out the back garden onto the football pitch and just eat it in the black buck. And that was just the norm, you know what I mean? That's what we used to do. But then I came into robbing the bikes, and we used to rob the mopeds we did. And you know what, looking back, it's fucking absolutely terrible. But like I said, at the end, there was no, you didn't think, you were only a kid, you didn't think how bad it was. But like I said, I look at kids now and say, how are they going, like, it's only getting from bad to worse. But back then I didn't realise how bad my childhood was, you know what I mean? Because I didn't think there was, well, it's like anything else when you're in it. And it's the norm there, you don't actually think it's as bad as what it is. So yeah, we used to rob the mopeds, and the police would come in, and we'd fly around the block a few times, get a chase off them, and just ditch the moped and go on the toes and run. So they were our bits of having fun, as mad as it sounds. I feel bad for the El Domino's men back then, but I think they did stop coming into the flats altogether then after a while. But this went on for many years. Now I would have been a little bit older doing the mopeds. I would have been like about 14, 15, maybe 16, you know what I mean? Before boxing got really serious, you know what I mean? But that's what we would have been doing. And then lots of fighting, and lots of fighting would have been in the flats, and it was like you would have to handle yourself, you know what I mean? That's where boxing probably, I thrived on boxing because of I knew it would stand to me and defend myself, and I'd hold myself. And now I'm very glad of where the life I chose because of could have easily gone down the wrong road. What the rest of the boys did, from the little things of just the eggs to turning to robbing the phones to robbing the mopeds. And then I remember the Lewis line getting made up, and then like we used to, when the Lewis line was made up, there was a JCB there, and we used to jump into there and hijack the JCB and just drive it up and down for a bit of fun, you know what I mean? Also get chased by the police. And I remember one time I was I think it was about 16 years of age, and we did that, and we got chased by the police, and I actually jumped off the Lewis line. Now it's pretty high up, it was getting built, so I wasn't active then, and I ended up doing my 2 ankles in actually after that. I actually really fucked up my ankles for a while, I did, for boxing wise. But they were the things growing up, and they were the norm, as mad as it sounds, you know what I mean? Like, as like robbing mopeds, robbing pizzas, robbing phones, robbing hats, and some of it was just for a bit of crack and a bit of chase before there was a bit more malice to it, you know what I mean? But like I said, it wasn't just me, it was everyone there, you know. It was just, like I said, it was just proper the norm growing up, and that's that's what it was like growing up for the flats for me, you know what I mean? A bit strange.
Does that come down to like not having a lot to do around the area? Because like you said there, you had boxing, but there didn't seem to be anything else other than getting a chase.
I think personally would have been not to have a whole lot. Like I was the only one to really do it. Like everyone tried in the flats, but it was mainly football. And I find Dublin city centre was mainly everything football, and it's very hard to make.
Football and fighting, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
you know, it's very hard to make, and it's very hard to keep at if you're not really achieving good things. You know what I mean? Even boxing's hard to keep at if you're not achieving good things. Lucky enough, I achieve good things, but I think it's down to not having right guidance in your life. Where I can personally say I never robbed the phone. I never did that. Now I did hats and whatnot, just other stuff for jokes, but I never did phones because I knew a little bit more the right or wrong because of my father, you know what I mean? And some other people in the neighbourhood wouldn't have having fathers, so they would have done that kind of stuff and wouldn't have the guidance. So that, and then also just nothing else to do, you know what I mean? Like we'd have a community centre and probably we'd have it twice 2 weeks a year. We would do something with them, really, you know what I mean? And they would try to do things, but I remember even a playground got built and I just think it's the mentality of most Dublin people are from the private areas. Like we had a playground built and it kind of got ruined basically, you know what I mean? We had a football pitch at one stage and it was a great football pitch, but we used to bring the Rob cars in there and the odd time it got cracked into the goal, so the pitch was off limits then. You'd light the car on fire near enough on the pitch and that was the end of it. So even though you'd have the older lads doing that and it's for fun and we'd get great enjoyment looking at it, it fuck us up by not able playing football, you know what I mean? So not able playing football, then there's nothing else to do, so what else you going to do? You're probably going to go out and do something bold, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's really how the childhood would have been for me growing up.
Yeah, I can actually relate to what you're saying, because at the moment that football pitches at the moment are getting burnt all the time and we can't play football because of it, because people are burning cars and stuff out. So I suppose you don't really realise the effect you're having on other people when those things are happening. The
snow effect, you know, snowball effect with it, you know, yeah. But yeah, if you think about like what I'm saying there, I probably rush briefly over it, but how mad that is, like going out and just doing things just to get a chase at the start, and then like ringing Domino's pizzas men to come in just to rob the pizza at the start to get free pizza, and then after that it'd be like rob the moped, and then at the end you don't realise how bad it is, but when looking back at saying, fuck me man, how bold of a kid were you, you know what I mean? Or how bold of a kid were you who you're hanging around with, you know what I mean? So, like I said, back then I didn't think there was too much badness there, but when you're looking back, it is pretty naughty, you know what I mean? But that was the norm.
Yeah, but that probably comes down to the fact that you've met loads of people now within probably the last 15 years who have total different ways of growing up. So what you thought was normal wasn't normal to me and to other people.
Yeah, of course. It all depends where you're from, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's just like we used to play as kids. We play IRA. We used to call it IRA kiss chasing or something like that. And IRA used to be catching them and kill them to get them that number on. You know what I mean? Like so, they were the more of the childish things to do. But as you start getting older, a few more devious and bold little things start coming into play. But like just down to like. It's just, yeah, it was a mad experience growing up, but I'd never change it, because we could always leave a key in the flats. You could always leave it, like, I don't personally think now really in Dublin there's a lot of places where you can leave the front door key in, where you can leave in the front door key in your flat and know that nothing ever be robbed, you know what I mean? But even down as, you see a few little videos on Instagram going around now, and I'm talking about, this is 15 years ago this was happening, just because cameras weren't around. Police be knocking on your front door, and we live in the flats, so you jump over the back bank and you just jump over and walk away. I've seen so many videos of that, people think it's great amusement out of it. It is funny, but we were doing that 15, 20 years ago, you know what I mean? Police were coming out the door, you jump over the back bank and just walk away, you know what I mean? So you didn't get caught. Like that was just, it was the norm to see the police about, and just it's a little bit of a cry for attention as well, I would have said, for a lot of people, you know what I mean? Just doing things to get some sort of attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well I think that's how people actually get into crime and stuff. See that on James English podcast, he was saying like a lot of people get into crime just out of like fear or something to do, and they don't know what to be doing, and that kind of comes down to a couple of things you said there. You know, a lot of people didn't have parents, guidance. They didn't have any guidance growing up, and you said you'd have your two things a year with the youth club or whatever. So there's not a whole lot to keep you entertained in that time, and then you've got to find things to keep you occupied. I can see where you're coming from. They're not to that height, the extremes of some of the stuff you were doing, but we were doing similar stuff when we were kids, you know. But how did you? I suppose You're saying that's from around kind of 7 to about 16ish
Yeah,
time, yeah. So
yeah.
where did that all change for you? Where did you just kind of go, right? Like I'm gonna take my boxing seriously, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna take life seriously? What was your?
I think what would
switch?
happen is like between that age, like I was always like I was boxing even before I was 7 years of age. So I was always down the boxing club at a young age, and I was always achieving. And I never even picked up my first loss until I was like about, I think it was 15, 16 years of age. You know what I mean? So it was pretty good. And like I said, what was good for me is I was winning. So it made it easier for me to keep going. It's like anything else. Once you keep winning, it's that bit easier if you keep doing it. You know, when you're losing and things ain't going well, it's hard. You lose this heart a little bit. So I was winning and kept on well. And then I think when I might have, I think it would have been, I won the under-18s tournament, and then I would have been sparring Paddy Barnes. We would have been the same way, and I realised Paddy was going to the Olympics and I could hold me on, and I was like, okay, I can hold me on with an Olympian here, you know what I mean? And then what happened to me was I finished school. I was lucky enough, I wanted to leave school when I was in third year I got offered an apprentice, and I wanted to do it with my father. Wouldn't let me leave, and now if I left, I probably would have never done the boxing. It was pretty difficult to have a full-time job as well as training in the evenings. And it's like anything else, once you start making money, things like that turns to a bit of a priority. But now I stuck into it. I did school. I wasn't the brightest in school at all. I'm blessed to get me leaving cert the highs, you know what I mean? Like, I've kind of one of these people. I was always in school. I never really ditched school, to be honest with you. I was in school, but I just kind of just sound out, you know what I mean? Wouldn't listen. I'm dyslexic as well, so I kind of suffer with a bit of reading, you know what I mean? Sometimes our words. So school was difficult for me. I wasn't too bad in school. Now I got in a few fights, but the school did turn a bit of a blind eye with me because of I was representing Ireland, and they were getting the mention because of it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure the principal at the time would have been liking it. But yeah, so school. I finished school, and then I applied for college up in Rathmines, and I was doing accounting and finance, and I entered the Elite Championships. It's like the All Ireland of GA. It's the Holy Grail, basically.
Of boxing.
Of boxing, yeah. But it's called the All Irelands. So it's like the All Irelands of GA, when it's like it's the Sam Cup. You know what I mean? So
Sam McGuire.
So I entered that, and when I was entering that, I ended up pulling out of college a little bit and just concentrating on the boxing for a few weeks, and then I won that. I wasn't expected to win that. Well, I did, but coming into the weight and moving up weight, and there was a defending champion for many years, a great champion at the time called Conor Ahern, beating him, and then all of a sudden I was on the Irish team. Even though I was on the Irish team for years, I never got actually paid. We'd get like a grant at Christmas time, maybe 1,000 or 1,500 quid, but all of a sudden you were getting paid a weekly wage now, you know what I mean? And then I took boxing seriously, and then just represented then I went to a lot of multinations tournaments, and then the EU championships, European championships, worlds, and I just took it serious then and realised I stopped kind of hanging around with the group of friends. About 18 years of age, I stopped hanging around the flats as much, because even though I was working full time as a boxer, it was Monday to Friday full time as well as the weekends, and you'd have competitions coming up. To be honest with you, when I was a kid, like I was like at that age, 17, 18, 19, that age, I used to even sit in the weekends. Like even that time I didn't even go out clubbing. I never went into a club, an over 18s club. I used to just sit in on a Saturday night. I used to have 2 TVs in the house. One would be playing the Xbox, playing PlayStation, playing FIFA, and the other one would be watching Match of the Day. And then I used to clean my runners. That's how I was very particular of me image, and then that's how people used to call me Pretty Boy, because I used to make sure my clothes were spotless, you know what I mean? And like I'd go home and give me runners a good wipe down and look after myself, and that's what I used to do the weekend. So I pulled a little bit away, and then I got me and Phil Sutcliffe, who was a former international, got really close, and we were doing the same kind of thing. So it was easy just to stick with him. We stuck with each other, even though we were best of pals at stages, but it was easy. We had the same common interest, and we just stayed in the straight and narrow at the time, you know what I mean? And then at that age, a lot of my friends were dibbling and dabbling the drugs, you know what I mean? And at one stage, I had a really good friend of mine, probably my oldest friends, and he was on the tablets, you know what I mean? He was doing the blueies all the time. He was strung out on the blueies, and he was like...
Is that hard to watch? One of your friends got you there?
Yeah, no, like you can only say so much to people, you know what I mean? I give people as much advice as possible, but I don't preach to people, you know what I mean? You have to make your own choices, you know what I mean? Like like my own brother told me at the stage, growing up, just never do fucking tablets because you get addicted to them. That was his advice, you know what I mean? And a lot of my friends did it, and just at the time when we were growing up, it was more tablets. Now it's more cocaine, you know what I mean? It was tablets back then, and sitting in the flats drinking, the girls there, and that's the way it was. And then it became more robbing and going out and doing bold things, and then that was just the norm, you know what I mean? That's what I grew up around, you know what I mean? I was just kind of lucky enough that I had boxing. Now, if I didn't have boxing, do I think I would have messing about? 110% I would have done something, you know what I mean? 110% I would have done something wrong. Did my father play a massive part to keep me on the straight and narrow? Yes, 100% as well. If I didn't have him or the boxing, I definitely would have been up to all sorts of things. Where would I be now? I don't really have a clue. I'm a little bit wild in so many ways. Like, I can still be naughty and bold and fucking get myself in some sort of trouble, but I do know the difference between right and wrong, you know what I mean? So that was just the norm growing up, and then the boxing just kept me on the straight and narrow. But it's like anything else, there was a lot of highs, but there was the lows were even lower than the highs, you know what I mean? So the boxing was very difficult. Like, at one stage, I wasn't getting picked for some tournaments, even though I was champion of Ireland, and I wasn't getting picked to tournaments, and you just get pain in your ass, man. What am I gonna do when you go out and start? At one stage, I went out start clubbing a little bit too much. Then when I started getting a bit older, I was going out clubbing a little bit too much and going out start drinking. Then when I was getting to my mid-20s, you know what I mean, start drinking and start chasing women and just fucking going out and just, if you look now, I used to, my dad used to give out to me, I'd say, like, at the end of the day, he'd say, concentrate on the boxing. Like, at the end of the day, I had to live my life as well, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going to be 35, 40 years of age, and I didn't even have a childhood because I concentrated so much on boxing, which is a catch just like anything else.
Well, Tyson Fury said it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Ariel had one he showed the other week, like when he was out running in the rain, his friends were all out partying, so I can see what you're saying there. 100%
I would have been the same as him, but I'm sure he had a bit of fun as well, you know what I mean? He's picked his spots, and that's the whole idea of the boxing, is picking your spots and knowing when you can and can't go out. Like this year I haven't drank at all year. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've been just focusing on the boxing. Now I don't really miss it too much, but like Halloween's coming up now next weekend. I can't really. I'll go to a friend's party, but I'll probably stay there for 2 or 3 hours and then bounce home. You know what I mean? I won't drink. You know what I mean? I'll just socialise for a little bit and go home. But that's the. I can't cry about it because that's the choice of that's the life I chose. You know what I mean?
Has COVID helped you focus a bit more because you can't. There isn't that distraction. Well, there wasn't that distraction.
I said when COVID happened, I said to everyone, COVID is what it's like to be a boxer when you're in camp. That's the way it's like being a boxer. There's nothing to do. Yeah, you have to. That's the way you have to be. It's nothing to do. The weekend comes, the highlight. Like I remember when I was when my partner, not the last fight, I had the fight I had about 2 years ago before COVID came about. Going out, like she used to say, can we go over for a bit of food or a bit of pool? It was like it's an effort trying to attract someone just to go out for a game and go to the pictures or go for a bit of food. Like that's an effort. That's how tired you are. So that's what it's like. So people are saying, now don't get me wrong, COVID has dragged on way too long, and I feel sorry for so many people. But that's the way it is like for us when we're in camp. You know what I mean? You're doing 8 weeks of just nothing. You know what I mean? Literally just nothing and just trying to be fucking live like a monk.
Well, you are training, so you are doing something.
Yeah, of course. But that's just the way it was. You know what I mean?
I know you said there, and if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to, but you said that like the lows and stuff, and I know you touched on the stuff with your brother on that documentary and stuff like that. Was that maybe a turning point for you? Because I think you said you went on drink.
Yeah, that would have been. See, with Anto would have been. Anto's ma and dad Anto's ma is my ma's sister, and Anto's dad is my dad's brother. But the ma and dad, his mum and dad died very young. And my nanny reared him, but my nanny reared me as well. I would go to my nanny's house. We lived in the flats, but I'd go to my nanny's house to stay out late. My nanny would let me get away with staying out late. So we got, like, at one stage I would have been closer to... Anto has a sister called Tracy. There's 8 days apart from me and Tracy. And people think we're twins. You know what I mean? Growing up, and, like, even though she's my cousin, her kids would call me Uncle Deco. You know what I mean? That's how close the family are. So... it's like even though Anto's my cousin, but we were growing up as brothers. Like even down to like, I don't know what's like for everyone else back in the day, but we would get in like I would have getting his passed down clothes. You know what I mean? That's the way I worked. Like he would have a Lacoste track, so I would end up getting off him, and
that happened even.
You know what I mean? That's the way it was growing up in our flat. You know what I mean? I'd get my man and dad really looked after us and had a great upbringing, but like Anto would get too big for his clothes. I would get it, and then like. We were all reared as one, you know what I mean? We were all reared as one, and I would never say, like, I've never had I've never had a big brother in my life, bar Anto. Like, you know, even people have like friend, like I've got someone to call me on he said, "You're like a little brother to me, Deco." I was like, "Nah, you're not," because I've only ever had one big brother. You know what I mean? Like, I've had friends who I loved them to pieces, and they're my friends, and they're my brothers. But I would never say that my big brother. But Anthony wasn't my big brother. He would advise me on things, and when he would come with problems or women's problems or whatever else, he'd tell you. So. And I used to hang around with his friends, you know what I mean? He looked after me and he kept me on the straight and narrow, and he would have been one of my biggest supporters. Like, if you look at all my old videos, you'll always hear one person screaming. It's always his voice screaming. So yes, that was difficult because we were rare as one we were, and we lived together. Like, I lived in my nanny's. I lived in my nanny's with him, you know what I mean? And that was he passed away. When he passed away, I think he was 24 years of age. I was 23 years of age. He was at my last senior title. I ended up breaking my hand. I broke my hand in the fight, and I was kind of pissed off. I won the fight, but got off. I wasn't in good form, and I remember my partner at the time goes, "Me Anto's fucking said he's not leaving until he gets a picture with you, you know what I mean? He's fucking waiting to get a picture with you. He wants to go before he goes out tonight, you know." Anto was a bit more advanced than me, a bit bold, like going out and doing trouble, messing with drugs, selling drugs. The way I could have easily gone, you know what I mean? I would have followed in his footsteps if it wasn't for the boxing, without a shadow of a doubt. He was a great footballer. And that's the way I would have followed. And he would get in feuds and fight with people. And when he would fight with people, I would always be beside him, you know what I mean? So I was getting led with him, you know what I mean? So if he was going to fight, because at the end of the day, it's like I wouldn't go and do drugs or nothing like that, but I would, when he was going fighting, I would go out and do fights with him, you know what I mean? So when he passed, like he was mad, you know what I mean? I remember like the stories I could tell you he did, you know what I mean? I'd probably be fucking someone would be reporting to the police, and anyway, he'd do mad shit, you know what I mean? Absolutely mad shit. He had a big set of balls, he did, and he didn't give a fuck, and he ran with it. But so when he passed away from drugs. It was drugs and drink. It's called a cocktail. He choked on his own vomit for drinking drugs, and it was like 2 days after me fight. So I didn't actually see him since the fight. The fight was the last time I seen him, and yeah, it was a very. When it first happened, I remember being in the pictures. I was in the pictures with my friend Ryan, his partner, my partner at the time, and I remember just getting the phone call. And at the time, I thought someone shot him. I said to myself, "I'm gonna do time now. That's me." I thought at the time we were fighting with people, and I thought someone had to whacking him, and I just said to myself, I can't even remember what pictures went out. I just remember just running out of screaming, saying to my partner at the time, "Hurry up, get the fucking car, get the car." I was thinking, now when I was 23, I was a young 23. I looked young, I fucking was immature, I went on young, but I'd follow. I was easily led, you know what I mean? I'd do whatever's asked of me. So when I first got the phone call, I said to myself, he's had to be killed, or someone's had to kill him. And I go to myself, I'm going to do time. And then I find out, get to the house, he died and is sick. And I remember being in the house for my nannies. At the time I was living in my nannies as well. I remember being in the house, and I slept with him in the sitting room for fucking, I think it was for 3 days straight, basically, you know what I mean? And that's when I just started drinking. At the time I used to go clubbing, and I'd have a wick in my hand. I wouldn't drink at the time. I'd just stand there to look cool, you know what I mean? Or people would come up to say, if you didn't have a drink, are you drinking? And you say, no, girls would think it's weird, you know what I mean? So sometimes you just have a wick in your hand just to fucking make it look like you're having a drink. No particular reason. But then I started drinking, yeah, and then still to this day I've never done drugs, and I'm very proud of that. But I remember saying it to my friend the other day. I was like, I don't know how I never did it, because of it's.
You were so involved in it.
Yeah, it's around me. It's around me. Like, I think it's a very much as a norm. So many people are doing it. You know, so many like teachers doing it. You know what I mean? People in hospitals, all sorts of people are doing it. So back then I just wanted to be numb. So if they want to be numb, you kind of take drugs, you know what I mean? So what happened was then he passed away, and I went really depressed. I went in depression. I went up to my nanny and asked her, because he was seeing the doctor at the time, Anta was, and I wanted to fucking start seeing the doctor for a bit of depression I had myself, you know what I mean? And I was like anything else, I'm a bit hard-headed. I just kept on saying, I'll just get over it. But I remember just locking myself for days upon days in the room, and just I wouldn't speak to no one, and pushed everyone away from me, and went drinking a good bit, and then partying, just at the time I had my hand broke because I told you I broke my hand 2 days beforehand, and I had nothing to look forward. Boxing was always my outlet of life, you know what I mean? No matter what all the shit was going on in my life, I always had boxing because I was good at it, and I knew I'd just keep pushing and something happened. I couldn't box. And I just went really in a dark place. And then I remember one time I got his belt. We used to have people probably who was a little bit older remember the belts, and used to have like big faces on them, like a board, you know, like an eagle belt or a skull face or something like that. And back then it was all the style it was. And I remember going into my shed in the back garden and trying to hang myself. Yeah, I was trying to hang myself, and then the belt snapped. It, and I was unconscious. I did, and. I remember just telling myself I just didn't want to be here no more. I wanted no more. I just wanted numbness, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I wanted pain. I was getting the pain, what I wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted to be in pain all the time. I didn't feel like I should be happy. I didn't want to feel nothing. I wanted to feel pain because it made me feel like there was something. That was the only thing about.
Because you were numb.
Just proper numb. Just didn't feel nothing.
I
pushed everyone away and just like. I don't really speak about it because of people. I find it's a catch. I do believe people need to speak about things, and that's the world is. But I think the world's getting very soft as well now. As mad as it sounds, like it's the world like everyone's suffering from some sort of mental health. But why all of a sudden now? Years ago, you never really heard of people going on. You didn't hear about many deaths either. You know what I mean? So it's a catch with, you know what I mean? You have to be strong.
More acceptable.
Yeah, like it is acceptable, but like, and it is. You should speak about it, but man, not like it's not about men should be just tough, but like life's hard for everyone. You understand? It's like we all have setbacks, but it's about how you have to deal with it. You know what I mean? You just can't look at something's gone wrong. So what's the point of being here no more? You know what I mean? You have to deal with it, and then so I remember going in the back and trying to hang myself with the belt, and the belt actually snapping, and waking up on the floor unconscious, and no one actually ever knew about it. Never even spoke to me father about it, because at the time like there was no like I just got on with things, you know what I mean? I just got on and dealt with things, and that was life, you know what I mean? That was life. And like growing up in the flats, even though I briefed over it, I was meant to say this shit. I had like this is how mad my family were. All me great uncles and me great aunties were all alcoholics. Like my uncle Mickey at the time was an alcoholic. My granddad was an alcoholic. So these two men, we had a big family there. Like we probably had the biggest family in the flats we did. Like I'm talking about, there must have been about 20, 25 of us. That's how many there was in the flats. So my uncle Mickey, it was my nanny's brother, my great uncle Mickey, right? He was an alcoholic, and he was in a wheelchair, and him and his wife died in the fire in the flats, and he lost his leg. He did, and he lost his leg. He was in a wheelchair. And this is how mad I was growing in the flats. He got around in the wheelchair, and he had one or two women on the side. Way past after his wife passed away, like he was an alcoholic, and like he'd have his front door open, and he'd walk in there, and he's getting a blowjob off of a fucking woman, you know what I mean? This was just all the norm. Like you'd be down the lane getting a blowjob. Now it'd be late at night, but you'd see this kind of stuff.
What age would you have been walking in on that?
I would have been about 12, 13, you know what I mean? Seeing this, you know what I mean? Maybe 14. But this was the norm, like, but he was mad. He used to get up, stand as everyone from the flats, but now so basically you'd only see his leg was, if you can see it, only this short. He'd get up and give it a little wiggle and say, S.O. Blue, with a big smoke in his mouth, you know what I mean? He was just mad. But he got a claim, my granddad got a claim, and 2 days after they got that money came through, both of them died. So both of them died from the drink. Me nanny, me dad's ma, lived next door to us. She died at 50 years of age from the drink. So this is the kind of life I lived in, you know. So all that generation were alcoholics, and then after that, like a lot of my aunties and my uncles were strung out on heroin. So like my uncle died from heroin. My other uncle was strung out on heroin and came off it clean. He only had one, as far as I know, he's been locked up for a while. He only had one slip of it on the heroin. He came off it, strung out. But I have another uncle who's been strung out 3 or 4 times. And you look at him now, you'd never think he was on drugs. He's fresh as fuck, man. Looks fresher than me does. Whole wits about him. He's a grafter. He works hard the whole lot, but he's fell into it, and he's been, I'm talking about 3 or 4 years, strung out on the drugs, and then heroin, and then on proper junkie, like proper full-on junkie. And then go off and became a born-again Christian and was going well, got married again, and then fell off the bandwagon again and got strung out again. And he's openly happy to talk about it. But this was the norm I was around, like, so the first generation were all alcoholics, full-on alcoholics, like 4 of my family members died from liver problems from the drink. The next generation were all strung out on drugs, you know what I mean? Strung out on heroin, and at the time that's when heroin would have been coming in at their generation, you know what I mean? Not mine, like it would have been out by then, but so like that's like lucky enough I had a man that who stuck together and who were clean, but all the rest of my family around are like
they're lovely people.
Yeah, like fucking, like I said, Anto's mum and dad died from drugs, you know what I mean? From drugs, from heroin. Like the fella passed away from drugs, you know what I mean? And me auntie Anne passed away when she was young as well, you know what I mean? She got very sick and just passed away, you know what I mean? But that was just the life I was brought up in, you know what I mean? And this wasn't like your uncle, auntie and uncle. We grew up as one family. Like we lived in the flats. It was a community, you know what I mean? We be with each other every single day, you know what I mean? Like these were like it was, you know, you have your auntie fucking living over in fucking the other side of town, and you might see her probably at a special occasion now, you know what I mean? But these are people we grew up with on a regular basis, and this is the kind of life I lived, you know what I mean? And then I remember me nanny and granddad weren't together no more, and I was living next door to me nanny at the time, and my granddad was living underneath me nanny, and she's like, they were separated, but she still banged down on her broom to send him up to send it around the shop, you know what I mean? So even though they weren't living together, weren't in a relationship, they were always everyone's in everyone's life still, you know what I mean?
There's that respect as well.
Yeah, like, so like it was mad. He was only a small little bloke. Stoney his name was, small little fucker he was, but he was meant to be a little bollocks he was. Raving alcoholic, but fucking loved fighting, you know what I mean? Like I said, my uncle Mickey with the leg, he was a funny fucker man, everyone loved him. An alcoholic, he was just, like, you'd see him with women and he'd say, look at her son, she's going to get it on me about 13 years of age, you know what I mean? You see him getting a blowjob, you're like, what the fuck, man? Now, if I seen anything like that happen to a kid, man, I'd end up punching the head off a man, you know what I mean? If I seen for letting kids see that, but that's what we seen back then, you know what I mean? And yeah, so a lot of family died from the drink, and a lot of them died from the drugs, you know what I mean? And so it's like the weird life I lived in, you know what I mean? It's a weird upbringing, but back then it was just a norm. And when I hear my man and dad talking about stories about fucking like my uncle Anto's dad was called Anto as well. Garda his name was, and he was an armed robber, you know what I mean? And you'd see him fucking robbing banks and running in with the money and trying to sort out the money, and then he was a big armed robber, and then he went on the drugs, you know what I mean? And then you seen him just lose his soul basically, you know what I mean? But my other uncle was fucking great with fucking checks as well, you know what I mean? And you seen him going to drugs as well, and then it was just a mad upbringing, you know what I mean? But I forget an awful lot. And it's probably a good thing I forget so much, you know what I mean? Like that.
Probably not suitable for
yeah, you know what I mean? It hasn't. I've turned out a good jumpy, you know what I mean? But it's maybe I forget so much. I can blame it only getting from digs to the head, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. It was a mad upbringing, and that was just the norm in my flat, you know what I mean? So from going robbing bikes and push bikes to seeing this thing, a family drinking drugs, you know what I mean? And proper strung out, you know what I mean? Like not fucking like strung out where they're robbing their own family, you know what I mean? And injecting heroin to themselves, and seeing it all, man, you know what I mean? Seeing it fucking all, and then it was just a mad generation to grow up with. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because I've met great people on the way, and I got great morals, and it made me choose the path I've chose now, you know what I mean? Because I've seen it all, you know what I mean? I've seen all and seen what kind of effect it can do, the likes of heroin, and how bad the drink can do, you know what I mean? I've seen it all, you know what I mean? So that's been my kind of childhood experience.
You obviously mentioned there about what you tried to do to yourself, and so that's the first time I've heard it, so it is quite heavy.
Yeah, no one would really know, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one, I'm not really one to talk about it, but like...
Yeah, well, you don't talk about anything, like,
yeah,
anytime on a normal basis. You're
like, oh, that's what's going on with you. Yeah, that's
so.
True, that's very true. I don't really like talking about myself. As much as people think I have an image about myself, and I'm thinking this, that, and the other, I don't really like talking about myself, you know what I mean? I'd rather help people than me giving help, you know what I mean? That's just me as a person. That's not looking for a high horse or anything like that. That's just me as a person. I'd rather ask
you do that, because you try to give advice, even stuff that you wouldn't have a clue about. You do try to give advice, so I would agree with that. But how did you switch that around? Because you're obviously feeling as low, because you've lost basically a brother, and
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what happened with him. Tully, my best friend Ryan Tully, who you know very well.
Tully, yeah.
Tully, the Tull dog. He was my best friend at the time, and he still is my best friend now. And he's family to me, you know what I mean? My friends are family, you know what I mean? And he's family to me, and what happened with Tully was I had a girlfriend at the time, a girlfriend for a long period of time. Since not kids, since I became 18, to be honest with you, I was with her for the 18 to 23 mark, and he passed away, and I basically told her to fuck off.
When Anto passed away.
When Anto passed away, I told her to fuck off, and then me and Tully had a fall now, and Tully was my best friend. So basically, fucking Anto passed away I couldn't get over it, but never, let alone have the support I needed to have because of my own problem of pushing people away. You know what I mean? And so it was just on my own. It just went numb and just stayed in the thing. And that's when I tried to fucking take my own life. Now, I tried to take my own life before I pushed the girlfriend and Tully away. And they, like, the girlfriend at the time wouldn't have even known about it, you know what I mean? And Tully didn't even know about it. I don't think in depth how much he knew about it. And he's my best friend. He only knew about when I did the documentary, how dark he goes. I just didn't know how dark it was because I don't really talk about it. How did I get over it? I couldn't tell you how I got over it. I just fucking, every day was just... Do you know what happens? Sometimes you go drinking, right? You go drinking one day, right? And it's a great bit of buzz. And then you say, there's nothing to do. You weren't walking. You had no fights coming. You're not training. You couldn't go train. You go drink the next day. There's fuck all else to do. It's boredom. Then all of a sudden it turns into another day. I was going out 4 to 5 times a week straight. And then taking 2 days off and going again. And I'm not a drinker in the pub. And I drink vodka. That's all I can drink is vodka. I'd go out and drink a litre of vodka to myself. I drink vodka. I can't drink pints. I think I'm not a drink. Like I'm not even a drinker now. But if I go off off the bandwagon and go on a mad one, I'll end up going on the vodka and just go getting smashed. You know what I mean? So it was just a turn into it. Like I had other friends at the time who helped me get through it, and they were going out with me. You know what I mean? I needed someone to go out, and I was going out with me, and I was going out fucking 5 times a week and just proper drinking. And then that's just then I just fucking I wanted to go and seek help, and then I wanted to go seek help. I really wanted someone to reach out to me, but no one was there to reach out to me because I wasn't willing to talk about it, you know what I mean?
But you were probably pushing people away.
Yeah, but yeah, I would have been. Yeah, I definitely would have been. But I was very much I can keep secrets to myself, and I just kept it all to myself. You know now how problem I'm with dark and how dark I got. You know what I mean? And how did I get out? I couldn't even tell you like that. Like, so much of it was a blur. Like I know for the first 4 days after I heard that he passed away till after the funeral. I remember being in Dundrum with my cousin picking a suit out for the funeral. I remember just waking up then, as mad as it sounds. As mad that sounds, that probably was before
I can relate from my dad.
I just woke up in Dundrum and said to myself, "Where the fuck am I?" That's all I can remember. I said, "Where am I?"
Well, you were in shock.
Yeah, so like that was a few days later, and then I was just I stayed in that dark place for a long time. And am I over him? No, I'll never be over him. I still go up and see him near enough every Sunday to visit his grave. But I've accepted he's gone. I'm sure your own father's passed away. You've accepted it.
Yeah.
You have to get on with it.
Yeah,
the pain. Do you know? It's not the pain you deal. You learn how to deal with the pain. It's not like it's going away. Yeah. Time is a healer, and you realise life still goes on. Like at the end of the day, I was thinking when I was thinking about taking my own life. After that, I said to myself, like, my own man, that me 3 little sisters. You know what I mean? Me baby sister fucking idolised me to pieces. You know what I mean? How am I going to hurt? How am I going to leave behind the hurt? You know what I mean? Because I'm being a selfish good. It's a catch. Is it selfish to do that shit? Yes, it is the way you do it to everyone else you leave behind, but it's not selfish for what you're doing for yourself because you don't want to feel that pain. So it is a catch. And I like I said, I don't know how I could say I got over it, you know what I mean? I just kind of fucking came out of it at some stage. And it's only now I'm willing to talk about it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to give... Like people talk about things, I'm willing to give them my experience and my advice and what I did. Like I just focused on training and got back into it, and then just trying to rebuild my whole life. And
was there a specific moment where you went, or someone said to you, right, you're getting in training, you're going to take the boxing serious now because you're 23 at that point? Yeah. You know, you did go on to have a good boxing career.
I went on and did well with boxing. No one at all. Like, cause my father was always pushing me to boxing, and he still always did to this day. So it was no any more or any less than what he does. But I did have opportunities. We'll go back actually. So he passed when he was 23. I went over to LA when I was 21 with my father. I went over there for 3 months, and my father came over for the first month, and I had to go home to go back to work. And I was left over there on my own. When I was 21, like I said, I was a fucking child, man. Like now the 21s are mature, you know what I mean? Back then I was fucking about 16 in the head. I was over in LA, and I was in the World Card with Freddie Roach, and most people know who Freddie Roach, Manny Pacquiao's old coach. And I was meant to sign with Top Rank, who Tyson Fury signed with, and I was meant to sign with them. And there was a contract there, and I was like, I just got homesick, and I said I'll go home for a little bit. And then when I went home, because I was too young over there, I looked so young. I was just sitting in. I wasn't doing a whole lot. I just in that little bubble. So I came home, and then I just never went back. I never went back then. I never went back. I ended up going back on the Irish team, won the elites, and then broke my hand. Entered the elites one more time at a box office one more time after that, and then after that I went pro. So in that whole year, I did probably nothing. The whole year was a blank out year, and then I got on back on the bandwagon. But when I got back on the bandwagon, when I went back on the Irish team, I was still going out partying when I had fights coming up. Like, even though I wasn't drinking, I was going out chasing women and just didn't want to be on my own. Yeah, just didn't want to be on my own. Didn't like my own company at that stage. Didn't want to be on my own. Didn't want to be with my own thoughts. And that's what I kind of did. I just kept myself busy. I remember, like, my friends would always say, Deco, fuck me, man. You're always doing something. And that was just so I wouldn't be on my own. I didn't like being on my own. Even if it was just to come over and sing a gaff, I'd just do that just so I didn't have to be on my own. That's how I got over it, you know what I mean, in time. But at the start...
That's probably because you would have been alone with your thoughts.
Yeah, at the start I was on my own for a long time, and then I came out and then I just tried to keep myself busy, and then got back on the Irish team, and then turned pro, turned professional with MGM, known as MTK now, and moved to Spain and lived there for 3 or 4 years, and it just kind of terms of, that's when I started growing up. I only started growing up when I went to Spain. Like, I was 24 years of age. I think it was 24, 25, 24 I think it was. I think it could have been 25. And it's only then I start growing up, you know what I mean? It's only then I start being more of a man and more of an adult, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still a child in so many ways. I don't give a fuck. I'm very carefree. I'm very outgoing. I like the crack, you know what I mean? But I grew up over there, you know what I mean? I did grow up, and the people around me. And then just fucking, yeah, boxing went well, and we've had ups and downs with boxing, and we continue to have ups and downs. Boxing breaks my heart, man, in so many ways. I've underachieved massively as a boxer, but it is what it is. I have to accept it. For the skills I have, I never achieve what I should achieve, but that's just life, you know what I mean? That's life. Like anything else, you just have to accept things and move on.
Do you think that maybe in some ways you might not have overachieved because of, like, you look at all the things you said there,
where I could have been,
the odds were all against you?
Well, look, I don't listen. For my ability, I've underachieved. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can still be saying to myself. I remember after the John fight, I still turned around and said, I'm so blessed that I left fight in front of thousands of people and on TV, and for everyone to sit there. Even though I lost, and I was like, I was blessed. I'm from the flats where I've came from. So that case, yeah, but I've still underachieved, like, massively, and all my fights I should have done a lot better, but that's just life, and we just have to get on with it, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if you want to go in through your fights, or you can just talk about kind of the highs and lows, because I know the one, the John fight you're talking about there, the second one in Belfast, and I've been at a few of your fights, and when you lose, it is such a horrible feeling for me as a friend,
yeah.
But then I see your family. I remember the one against McCullough in Belfast in the hall, seeing your mum going in and you on the ground and stuff like that. Like, it's not a nice sight.
But this is the choice. This is the job I chose, and my family have no choice. But my partner now, she has to deal with it because she knows what job I picked. Listen, it's hard for all yous. It doesn't even that hard for me. Like, at the loss does be, but not the worrying or the nerves and nothing like that, because I know what my ability is. But after that, it's like, the Marco fight probably was the easiest fight I should have won, you know what I mean? That would have been European champion. I should have beaten him 10 times out of 10, didn't. Like, all of them I should have really beaten, but that's just life. They had me number on me on the day, and they beat me, and I just marched forward. And the lows probably would have been the John of the second fight, because of where I was in my career. I was probably one or two fights away from a world title. I know after that fight, he got life-changing money. He signed a contract with Eddie Ahern, and it was between me and him. I got it. I'm talking about life-changing money, and I never got that opportunity. And, well, I'm happy for him. He did it, you know what I mean? I didn't do it. And then at the same crack, I stopped the drinking when I turned pro, and I was living like a fucking monk, you know what I mean? Did the right things. And then after that fight, I went back on the drink buzz, you know what I mean? Went drinking fucking heavy again. Yeah, heavy again, and looking for anyone. I used to bring you out just to have some with me, you know what I mean?
There was me thinking we're friends.
So that's where I was. But that's just life, and that's, like, I'm sure anyone watching this knows how my boxing career has gone, so I don't really need to go into too much depth about it. But
yeah.
So, like, it's more what's happened beforehand. But yeah, that's the way my life has gone, you know what I mean? And I'm at the tail end of my career. Maybe I'll have one more fight. Maybe I'll have 4 more fights. But I'm at the tail end of my career. Will I ever win a world title now? I can't see ever doing it now. You know what I mean? Should have 100%. I think when me and Phil Sutcliffe turned pro, I remember saying one of us at least have to win a world title. Never mind 2 of us, and he's retired without winning anything really. And I'm on the tail end without really winning anything at the moment now. So we'll see what happens. That's just life, man. You have to get on away. Yeah, I have expectations for myself, and sometimes you don't take it. All I can say is, at least I tried, you know what I mean? I try to feel, I was never scared to go out of my comfort zones and try to do things, you know what I mean? Or try to achieve the goals I wanted to do. I never let anything hold me back, and if it didn't work out, it wasn't meant to work out, I guess. Even though I find it difficult for me to understand that why it didn't work out for me, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, but you obviously mentioned you've a fight coming up now.
Yeah.
You won a belt as well recently.
Won a belt. UBO world champion. I'm world champion, so all is now. World champion. It's not a big belt. It was nice to win a belt. I've won 2 professional belts since a pro. This one could be another one, and then we'll see what's after that, really, you know, man.
And what does the future hold? Because if you take away boxing,
I don't know.
That might be a deep question for you.
Yeah,
would you coach boxing? Would you look at something?
I don't know. I like anything else. I'd give advice. I probably would open an amateur gym. I probably would give out, but I don't know how I'd feel about it. I really don't know. Get a job, man. Have kids, maybe. Live the normal life.
You're getting on a bit now. You're not having them.
Or just be a fucking bachelor and just fucking do as I please. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Have a partner. We rent together, so maybe kids, maybe, I don't know. I can't tell you what. I've never been one to plan for the future, you know what I mean? I've a lot of short-term goals. Now I have long-term goals with boxing, I did, but a lot of short, like I take it day by day because I just don't know what's going to happen, you know what I mean? So what does it hold? Fuck knows, man. We'll see what happens. Like, we'll just, time will tell, you know what I mean?
Do you think it's exciting that you don't know what's for the future?
I don't give rats.
No, but
but I don't give rats. It's not exciting. Nothing. Like, it is what it is. Like, I have a bit of OCD. Like, I'm a bit weird, man. I'm a bit weird. Like, I do plan out my day. Like today, I planned out. I went for the spa. I went sparring. Came up to you. Now I had to go to the gym straight away. I have everything planned down to details. You know what I mean? That's how I plan my life, very much. And I have OCD with planning as well as how clean I am with things. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. I can't tell where my life will go, what career I'll end up with. I don't know. I've good friends who would help me out no matter what. I've had good people in life where like I've even said, like, to me growing up, like I've never had a big brother bar Anto, but I have friends who are best friends, and I've had 3 people in my life at stages who would have been like father figures to me. You know what I mean? I had my own father who was my father figure. Billy Walsh would have been a father figure to me, and then my old manager Daniel would have been a father figure to me at a stage as well. But I've kind of drifted from them people now at the moment. I still have my father around, but people coming in and out of your life, like I said, that's what I'm saying. You don't know what, like, at a stage I thought Billy would have been always there, and then I kind of got fucked over a little bit by him towards the end, where I wasn't getting selected for tournaments where I was champion. I didn't get selected for, you know what I mean? I was the best of the way, and I wasn't getting selected. And drifted away, and that's just people coming in and out of your life. So do I know what's going to hold? No, I don't. I just take it as it comes.
Listen, it's been eventful, to say the least.
I've done some shy talking here, I tell you that.
No, I actually have really enjoyed it. It's the first time I've ever heard you talk about some subjects, and obviously you went into detail about other stuff. So I think it's really insightful for people who don't know you, but also for people that do know you. There's probably stuff here that you've told for the audience or whatever that you probably haven't told people in person or whatever, you know.
But like, I'm going to say to anyone watching this, there's ups and downs of life, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. At the stages I didn't think there was where could I go and what can I do with life. And I still get to them situations when I'm in boxing career, and like, the boxing's over, what am I going to do? You're panicking, what? But there's always light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? Don't worry, there's always help out there for you. Sometimes you have to reach out, like I said before, I'm not one for talking, and some people ain't, but it is good to talk to people, and don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, you know what I mean? No one's going to ever... I personally find if anyone ever reached out to me, I'm never going to turn them away. I'm going to speak about their business. So I'm sure if anyone's afraid of that, I'm sure they can reach out to someone. And don't think the worst of it, you know what I mean? But there's always light at the end of that tunnel. So as you know yourself, pal, you've been there, you know what I mean? You've had hard times yourself, so... But you keep plugging away, consistent, keep plugging away, something will pull off for you. Sometimes it doesn't feel like how long you been doing that Irish Football Fan TV before
4 years.
Before I even got recognised. I reckon it took you about 2 years before you can kind of start getting on, you know what I mean? And how hard was that, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. You have to just keep going. You know what I mean? So it's hard work. Life's hard for everyone. Life is hard, you know. But everyone's been through some sort of trouble, you know what I mean?
I think that's good for people who may be a fan of yours or young lads look up to you, say, as you said, around your area, to hear you talking about that. So I think that's an important message to get out to people as well. So fair play to you. I suppose we'll leave it there. We might do a part 2 some other stage in the future. Best luck in the upcoming fight. Don't forget to follow Declan on social media. You're on Twitter, Instagram. You have a new Twitter now, so you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the whole lot. YouTube as well. Give you a YouTube channel. You're down this camera now.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a good plug.
Fire 365 running from me, you know what I mean? Declan Geraghty on YouTube. Yeah, give it a follow. Cool videos.
We have an embedded series.
Yeah, we're doing embedded things with all my fights coming up, you know what I mean? We have a friend called JC who's helped me out an awful lot, and he's great film work, and give Fire 365, give them a follow on YouTube. It does great things. He's following me around for all my fights and training camps. And just, like I said, I'm trying to document as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it's going to be over soon. If it's over next week or if it's over next year, who knows? It's going to be over soon. So it's good to look back now and see what happens.
You have kids and they can watch it back in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's good to have these things. We'll leave it there. Don't forget to like the video if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify or Apple or any other audio platform, give the platform a follow and rate it as well if you wouldn't mind. Thanks very much for watching and listening.
Or if you're on Tinder, give Paul a follow.
Give me a swipe. Thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Bye bye.
That's a wrap.